Hello students, welcome to the another set of MCQs from the neonatology. So we'll be discussing some of the neonatology MCQs. Following picture is of term neonate born by the normal delivery. Which of the following investigation would you like to advise? Now what is abnormal particularly if you see in the face? The child is crying but here the angle of the mouth is depressed, but here the angle of the mouth is normal. Angle of the mouth is not depressed. So this can be the absence of the muscle depressor anguli oris. Depressor anguli oris. So there can be absence of the muscle depressor anguli oris. And whenever you get such thing, they might be associated with cardiac anomalies. They might be associated with cardiac anomalies. So you should always advise echocardiography. You should always advise echocardiography. Similarly, when you examine a child at birth, there can be presence of single umbilical artery. There can be presence of single umbilical artery. And if there is single umbilical artery, it can be associated with renal anomalies. It can be associated with renal anomalies. So what you should always advise is, you should advise ultrasound abdomen to rule out the renal anomalies. So whenever you examine a child at birth, this might be the two things which can point out towards any congenital anomalies. So if there is absence of the muscle, depressor anguli oris muscle, you need to advise is echocardiography. If it is a single umbilical artery, you need to advise is the ultrasonography abdomen. Moving to the question number 2. 40-week baby was born through thick meconium. At birth, baby starts crying and the cord was clamped. Next step in the management is. Now, whenever you study the management or particularly the meconium aspiration syndrome, or the better word to be used is the meconium stained child. Meconium stained child. The management will depend upon whether the child is vigorous or whether the child is not vigorous. So whether the child is vigorous and whether the child is non-vigorous. And vigorous and non-vigorous you divide on basis of heart rate, respiratory rate and tone. So vigorous means there is spontaneous respiration, there is spontaneous cry, and in the vigorous child nothing to be done. Nothing to be done, only the routine things that is to be done. Right? Even in a non-vigorous child, what we now say, suction is not indicated. Suction is not indicated. Previously we used to say tracheal suction, to be a better word. Tracheal suction is not indicated even in the non-vigorous child. So if you say here a child with thick meconium, baby starts crying, choice A, intubate the baby and suction the endotracheal tube in case there is meconium below the cords, no use because tracheal suction is no longer indicated. Then C choice, visualize the cords with the laryngoscope and only intubate. If you see meconium below the cords, nothing, no significance. Intubate the baby only if the 1 minute Apgar score is less than 6, does not carry. In this child, if the child has started crying, you should only dry the baby and remove the wet wraps. That is the right protocol which needs to be done here because it is a vigorous meconium stained child. Because it is a vigorous meconium stained child. Then the next question is regarding the use of antenatal corticosteroids for the preterm child. All are true except. We are talking of use of antenatal corticosteroids and you all know in India we are using is the dexamethasone. Dexamethasone. There are certain points to be remembered. In multiple fetal pregnancies, same dose of antenatal corticosteroid is given as in a singleton pregnancy. Absolutely right. If there are multiple fetal pregnancies, still you need to give is the same dose. Still you need to give is the same dose. Mother diagnosed with pre-gestational and gestational diabetes should be given complete course of antenatal corticosteroids. Yes, in a preterm delivery, that is also true that we are giving is. Presence of preeclampsia and hypertension are contraindication for using in a pregnant female. Answer is no. Even in the hypertension or preeclampsia, you need to give the same dose. So the message I want to give by this question is, maybe a multiple pregnancy, maybe diabetes or gestational diabetes, maybe hypertension or preeclampsia, you are giving the same dose. You are giving the same dose of antenatal corticosteroids. Only absolute contraindication is the chorioamnionitis. Chorioamnionitis is the absolute contraindication. Antenatal corticosteroids, they are helpful in decreasing the incidence of hyaline membrane disease, intraventricular hemorrhage, and necrotizing enterocolitis. So there is decreased incidence of hyaline membrane disease, intraventricular hemorrhage, and necrotizing enterocolitis. Question number 4. 2-day-old infant, birth weight is 3.5 kgs, normal delivery, Apgar score is normal. On day 2, he is jittery and feeding poorly. There is abnormal movement. There is no jaundice, no dysmorphic feature, most likely is. Right? So there is abnormal movement means most likely the child is having the seizure. Right? And this question, if we get, it needs to be solved by exclusion method. Exclusion. Now, if we pick up the lines, the line given is no dysmorphic feature. So that means it usually rules out the fetal alcohol syndrome. Also given is no jaundice. So basically this also rules out the congenital rubella syndrome because it is usually associated with hepatosplenomegaly. Now if you see here, the Apgar score is given 8 and 10, and this is not in the favor of hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. So what is the answer left? The answer is the maternal opiate use, and now the child is having the drug withdrawal syndrome. The child is having the drug withdrawal syndrome. I am only talking of the possibilities out of the choices being given. So this child is most likely having the drug withdrawal syndrome. Clear? So the answer here comes out to be the maternal opiate use. Coming on to the next question. It is basically 3 days old girl term child delivered at home presented in emergency for bruise and gastrointestinal bleeding. It is a 3 days old girl term child delivered at home presented with bruise and GIT bleeding. There is no history of maternal drug during pregnancy. There is no family history of similar problems. Platelet count is 3 lakhs per cubic millimeter. Most likely diagnosis is most likely. The one clue they have given is child is delivered at home. Secondly, there is no history of maternal drug during pregnancy, no family history, and platelet count is normal. So what are the things we can rule out? Now if you see neonatal septicemia with DIC, that is ruled out because the platelet count is given normal. Necrotizing enterocolitis, thrombocytopenia is seen but platelet count is there, so that is also ruled out. Plus here given the child is a term child. There is no family history of severe problem, that rules out the severe coagulation disorder. So what is the right answer is the classical hemorrhagic disease of newborn. One is basically the early onset and one is the classical onset and one is the late onset. Early is seen in 0 to 24 hours and this is due to history of maternal drug intake. Their mother is taking certain drugs which interferes with the carboxylation of the clotting factor 2, 7, 9 and 10 by vitamin K, and this usually presents early. Classical is seen in a child which is exclusive breastfed and delivered at home. Exclusive breastfed and delivered at home. Child was delivered at home. The child did not receive the injection of vitamin K, which was supposed to be given at birth, and breast milk lacks vitamin K. That is the classical. And late is particularly seen in the fat malabsorption, and this usually presents between 2 weeks to 6 months. And the classical presents between 2 to 7 days. So if we say here, we have given is 3 days old girl, term child, delivered particularly at home. So this is most likely a case of classical hemorrhagic disorder of newborn. Please, while solving the clinical MCQs, always follow the method of exclusion. Try to exclude, then you will be in a better position. Maybe you don't agree that this is the answer, but that is how to solve the clinical MCQs, right? I'll be posting more videos. Please subscribe to this channel. Do watch out more videos. Thank you so much.